Okay, we're going to take a look at craft museums. There's quite a few of them, so let's get started. All right, so hold on a second. I think we're going to start off with, the University of Nebraska Lincoln, where I graduated from. Their International Quilt Center and Museum. It wasn't built when I was there, and it's seen as a really fantastic place for the study of quilts. There's other ones in the United States for sure, but I particularly like this one. Have I been? Yes, I've been inside it. And so this is from a Kente Takuba stitched textiles in West and Central Africa exhibition. And this is part of a masquerade, so there usually would be a mask on top of there. And then this is kind of a political quilt, Power, Passion, and Politics exhibition. Jean Ray Lowry's Barefoot and Pregnant. Okay, let's go to the Twin Cities. We are very proud of the fact that we have the Minnesota Center for Book Arts. There's a bookstore, there's a paper store, and then they have all kinds of programs for beginning writers all the way up to adult writers. And it's a treasure of Minnesota for sure. And here's inside. You go upstairs, and there's Milkweed Edition Press, and there's a audience hall, and all kinds of really cool stuff. And here's an exhibition at the Minnesota Center for the Book Arts. They do some really nice small exhibitions. This is the Northern Clay Center. We love to go there. Sometimes we like to shop and get a small item. The exhibition space is very small, but they do some very interesting programming there. And it's also obviously a place where you can become familiar with and become a clay artist. And this is kind of a cool looking piece. And then the Textile Center, I don't know as much about it, and I've never been, but I've heard good things about it from our neighbors who are textile people. Okay, now we're going to go to the East Coast, and we're going to go to the... we're still in the Textile Center. Sorry, this is one of the exhibitions there in 2019. And then in Washington, D.C., the Renwick Gallery is basically charged with promoting craft throughout the United States as part of the Smithsonian system. And it's an old mansion, and we'll see a couple examples of old mansions that are used for textile museums, and this is one of them. And then this is one of the exhibitions there. Disrupting Craft Renwick International or Invitational 2018 exhibition. And then, so this one is Stephanie Zajuko's Cargo Cults head bundle. And then, actually, I think this is hers. Cargo Cults. Yeah. And then I think the first one, okay, I screwed that up. The first one is the Art of Burning Man exhibition, no spectators. And then the second one was her, so I just switched the slides. Sorry about that. Okay, and then George Washington University took over the Textile Museum quite a long time ago, and they built kind of a new home off the old mansion to the left, which is really cool. And let's look at some of the stuff that they have there. So this one is, hold on a second. Yeah, okay, so this one, I think, is the Binding the Clouds, the Art of Central Asian Iktak exhibition. And Hanging or Cover Central Asia. Yeah. No, that's that one. Okay, so sorry. I'm really getting my stuff confused. All right, so this is definitely the art of Central Asia for sure. Okay, let's keep going. And then finally, yeah, okay, now we're at the Sandals by Shonya Tagawa. I really like those. And then this is Christina Kim's recycled Jamdini panel. Okay, now let's go to New York City. And this is the Museum of Art and Design. And it's a fairly significant institution, I think, in New York City. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go there. It was closed when I was there in 2022. And then they have, and a lot of craft museums have this sort of annual prize or biennial prize. And so for Burke, the Burke Prize 2008, The Future of Craft 2, this is Ibrahim Saeed's Devotion 2018. Looks really interesting. Okay, so that's that. And then this is La Frontera, Encounters Along the Border exhibition. And this is Martha Vargas's work. And she's from Mexico. And I just love this stuff. It's so interesting, so colorful. Wonderful stuff. And then, let's see. Let's go. Okay, so now we're to the Cooper Hewitt Smithsonian Design Museum, which I did get to in 2022. They're also charged within the Smithsonian system to promote craft. And they had this iridescent exhibition. And inside this old mansion is an old... what do you call that? Where... hold on a second. Okay, so it's called it's called a conservatory, a building, a little glass part of a mansion usually. And then this is Norwood Viviano's, no, sorry, where am I at? Okay, back. Francisco Rabadies's bracelet 1960, which I think would be very heavy, but very fun to wear. Okay, then we're going to go to the immersive room of the Corning Museum of Glass. And you can make designs inside the immersive room and then sort of project them onto you, I guess, which is always fun. And then here is the Corning Museum of Art, or Corning Museum of Glass, which I think looks beautiful against the snow there. And then, whoops, oh darn it, okay, I just went past it too fast, but it's Norwood Viviano's Global Cities exhibition. And it looked like she was using statistics maybe, and different colors and different sizes of glass to make a point. And then this is near and dear to me. This is America's Favorite Dish, celebrating a century of Pyrex exhibition. Pyrex was a huge thing in the 70s. It was called Corelle dishes, and everybody had one at their house, and it was just quite wonderful. Very nostalgic for me. Okay, so this is the Shelbourne Museum, and it's in Vermont, and it's a whole campus of buildings and barns, and it has a very eclectic collection of different things, including wagons, and then it has this steamboat, Ticonderoga steamboat, that was launched in 1906. I don't know at what point it actually ended up at the Shelbourne Museum, but or how it got there. Maybe in pieces, I don't know. It would be a great mystery to solve. Okay, so this is one of their exhibitions in the garden, which looks very beautiful and a lot of fun. And then this is the Cranbrook Art Museum, and So the first thing we're going to look at is the Wild Vinyl Designer Art Toys exhibition. I don't know when vinyl toys were big at Perpich. Probably, I don't know, 10 years ago or so. I remember a student doing her major project for me in art history around vinyl toys. And then this is the Truth Booth. Uh, Outside the Cranbrook Art Museum. And when you're in the booth, you speak your truth. And then upon your approval, it's part of a huge video installation inside the museum. It's a clever idea. And then you can also write your truth onto a word balloon. Okay, let's keep going. In the South, you have in Charlotte, North Carolina, the Mint Museum of Craft and Design. And they had a really great exhibition on African print fashion now design. There's a big movement within the African continent for fashion, particularly in Nigeria. And a lot of people are becoming very, very interested in it as of late. Then we're going to go down to Santa Fe to the IAIA Museum of Contemporary Native Arts. And we have a piece here by Dana Claxton. That's a typo. It's not Hannah Claxton. And she's really become well known as of late. She's actually a First Nations person from Canada, and there's a photograph somewhat similar to this at MIA, actually, and it's part of the Art for a New Understanding Native Perspectives 1950s to Now exhibition. And then I love this one because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. So this is Now is the Time, Investigating Native Histories and Visions of the Future exhibition. Yeah, that's something else. And then we go to Northern California to the Museum of Craft and Design. And this is a work or an exhibition, Gustavo Perez's Self-Portrait in Black and White exhibition. And then this one is Moto MXX exhibition from 2020. I've ridden a motorcycle maybe like once, and would never want to do so again. But anyways, this looks like a really interesting exhibition. Okay, and then we're going to kind of end in the Northwest in Tacoma, Washington at the Museum of Glass. And they have a program, sort of in which people make glass within the actual museum. It's the Hot Shop, and you can see the sort of gangway up above that you would use to look down at the Hot Shop and see artists making glass in front of you, which is, I think, a incredible programming idea in the museum. And then what else? Okay, so here you're seeing actually what you would gaze upon. That is a huge piece. I'm so clumsy. I don't think I would do very well making glass. I would probably ruin the first thing I even tried. I know there's programs in the Twin Cities for glass making, which, maybe in retirement, maybe I'll think about it. Okay, and then this is a work called White Raven, and it's from Preston Singletary's Raven and the Box of Daylight exhibition. He's become a really big name in native glass art, which is, I've seen a piece of his in Washington, D.C. Back in 2022. And then this is a great one. So this is called Transparency, an LGBTQ plus glass art exhibition in 2019. And this is Tim Tate's We Rose Up. Okay, that's it. We did it.